Hi guys, my name is Hannah. For those of you that don't know me yet, I'm going to be a sophomore in the fall and I'm currently a nursing major. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about me and kind of my relationship with soccer and a little bit of my road to Siena. So it starts out with I'm from Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is about an hour north of Siena. And there's really only two soccer clubs in Ann Arbor, and so I started out at the first one from 3rd to 5th grade, and it was called Crush. And at the time they operated where Concordia has now built their stadium, but back then it was just grass fields. And so I played there for 2 years. And as I was coming back for my third, my sister, who was 4 years older, decided to leave the club and she moved on to the Michigan Jags. But I decided that I was going to come back for a third year. And so I try out for 2 days, and late on Sunday, second day of tryouts, Crush tells my mom that I was never registered for tryouts and that they were never considering me because of my sister's decision to leave the organization. And so it's late on Sunday, and all of a sudden I don't have a team and I don't really know what I'm doing. And my mom's freaking out because tryouts are over. Everyone has a team except for me. So she starts calling places, trying to find a spot for me, and eventually she calls the second club in Ann Arbor, which is called Ann Arbor United, and she finds me a spot. They have a spot and they agree to take me. So first day I go and I introduce myself to my coach and I'm like, hi, I'm a center back. And after practice and watching me shoot and cross the ball, he has decided that I am no longer a center back. I'm going to be an outside forward. And so for those of you that don't know me, I'm not an outside forward. It just really wasn't where I was comfortable. I really enjoyed the back line and I loved being a center back. And I think it's where I felt most comfortable and most confident as a player. But my coaches decided that I'm now an outside forward and that I'm going to like it there. And so I spent 3 years there, which was 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, so my whole middle school career at this same club. And unfortunately, I just really had a pretty awful experience there because I didn't understand really how to play an outside forward and I couldn't really get answers. I was just kind of told every time I made a mistake, and I just got yelled at constantly because I didn't know what I was doing. But I also wasn't getting coached to be a better player. And so it was really just frustrating to not see any growth and any improvement. And really, I didn't see any hope of any growth or improvement. So I was frustrated for 3 years and I really started to hate soccer, and it wasn't where I wanted to be. And it wasn't what I wanted to do. And so eventually I kind of told my parents, I'm out, I'm done. I don't want to play soccer anymore. I don't see what soccer has to offer for me at this point. And I'm really just over it. I don't want to do it. And thankfully at the same time, they had kind of started falling out of love with this coach. And I think my parents and I were on different pages, because at this point they expected me to go on and play college soccer. And I was just kind of looking to be done. But thankfully we both decided that we were at least done with this club and it was time to move on. And so we kind of decide that we're going to have one more try at this, one more go. And so I ended up switching clubs and kind of a last ditch effort to save soccer for me. And so I ended up moving on to the Michigan Jags, which is where my sister had played for the last 7 years. And at this point, she has gone on to play at Oakland University, which is about 2.5 hours north of Siena. And it's a D1 program. And we're all super excited she's going. And at the same time, we're all super excited that I'm now at the Jags and I'm going to play with, or I'm at least going to play under one of my sister's old coaches, which ended up being Andy Richards, who is the current head coach at Lawrence Tech. I ended up playing 6 of my 8 seasons at the Jags with Andy, and I wouldn't be playing soccer if I didn't have Andy as a coach. He really kind of saved soccer for me. He made soccer fun, and I just really started to understand it. I remember I went to an open practice with Andy's team, and the first thing I said to my dad after practice was, "He makes my old coach look like an axe murderer," because he was just so nice and so friendly, and Andy really doesn't yell. There was never any yelling, which was like a complete 180 of the environment I had been in previously. So I was all on board. I was so excited because finally I have someone who's going to coach me, and they're actually going to give me answers to the questions I have. And so he lets me play my first tournament as an outside forward, because that's what I told him I was. And I told myself as this outside forward, it's going to be great. And thankfully after that, we kind of sat down and we talked about what ended up being my non-existent future as an outside forward, because it just wasn't a position that I was really going to thrive in. And thankfully we find this happy medium, and we decide that I'm now going to be a center back again. And so I was super excited. I was a little apprehensive after a 3-year nightmare that basically came from switching positions. But thankfully, I had enough sense to just kind of let go and trust Andy. And I had a pretty smooth transition back to center back. And thankfully at the time I had a really supportive team. And I had a really great other center back who taught me so much about the position. And I was just in this position where soccer started to make sense, and I enjoyed coming to practice because I was like, I'm going to learn more and I'm going to be better, which wasn't something that was happening at my old club. And so to have this like prospect of actually going to like improve as a player was just super exciting to me, because that's all I had ever really wanted from my other coach, was just like, I want to know more. I want to be better. And finally I had this opportunity. And so then college soccer started to really seem like an option for me, and I really started looking. And while all of this is going on, my sister has had a horrible year at Oakland. She ends up redshirting. She becomes the only player to not play that season. So she redshirts and she transfers. She ended up transferring to a D2 out in Cleveland called Ursuline College. And she ends up having a long 4 years there. Does not like it. And I at first had wanted to go out and play what would be her super senior year and my freshman year. And I was like, I'll come out and join you. And she basically told me, no, don't do it. Like, I don't want you to come out here and waste 4 years. So then I was kind of like in square one, because I didn't really know where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. And thankfully, Scooter kind of found me and was like, look, like, just come on a visit. And so I went, and then I was like, can I come to a practice? And I got to come to a practice, and everyone was so happy to be there. It was like that time when you like don't see your friend for like 4 years, and then all of a sudden you're all together. Like, that's what it felt like. It just felt like you were like coming home, and everyone was so excited that you were like finally there. And so at that point I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to come here. And thankfully Scooter gave me the opportunity to come to Siena, and I love it. But my 2 words for this year are fail forward, because for 3 years I was not allowed to make mistakes, and I was looked down on for making mistakes. But I've really learned that that's the only way that I'm going to grow, and that's the only way I'm going to get better. And I might look silly when I'm on the ground because I fell when I trip over the ball. But at the end of the day, it's the only thing that I'm going to learn from, and it's the only thing that's going to make me better. And thankfully I get to do it with all of you. And I know that if I end up on the ground, you're going to laugh with me, and you're going to pick me up. And I'm blessed to be able to get to do this with all of you. So I love you. Good luck with finals. And I will see you all in the fall. I love you.